Gary Grad, Golden Gate Palms Nursery, coming to you from San Francisco, California. Why Golden Gate Palms? Because, well, the Golden Gate Bridge is just like right over there. And I just happen to love palm trees. And that's why we call it Golden Gate Palms. But anyway, you're probably wondering like, well, why does Gary love palm trees if they look that ugly? Case in point, this tree right here. Now, this is a tree, it's the only palm native to the state of California, Upper California, that is, not Baja, not to be confused with Baja, everything north of, the San Diego border. It's the only palm native. This palm is Washingtonia foliifera, the California fan palm, named as such because it's the only palm native to California. We all know that now. And this tree used to be ubiquitous all through California, all through the Central Valley, when the Central Valley was a sea, an ocean of salt water with all kinds of maritime fish in it and everything else. In fact, the largest shark ever known to mankind, Megatooth, Megadon, something like that. He was found in Bakersfield, of all places, and that used to be a beach. But anyway, these palms used to ring the Central Valley, and it was a tropical oasis. But then everything dried out, and it got colder, the Ice Age came, and this tree got pushed down to the most frost-free spots of the desert where there existed water, which is not very many places. Basically along rivers and streams and oasis situations. Water coming out of the ground, springs. Palm Springs, for instance, that place owes its name to this tree. Now, why does it look so bad? It's the only palm native to California, so it must be highly adapted to California, right? Well, that's true if you're down in the desert where the humidity is really low, temperatures are really high, and the growing conditions are ideal for this plant because it gets attacked by black diamond scale. Right there. Those are black diamond scales. They look like little diamonds right there. And they're not actually a scale. They look like scale. It's actually a fungus that attacks this plant. Black diamond scale is present in its native habitat. However, the scale grows really fast when exposed to foggy, cool conditions, and the palm grows really slow when exposed to foggy, cool conditions. And so guess what happens? Down in the desert, this fungus doesn't really have a chance to get anywhere, and the palm constantly outgrows it. The fungus barely grows, and everything's fine. But here in foggy San Francisco, especially right next to the bridge, the foggier you are and the cooler you are, the worse off it is for this plant. This plant suffers here, should not be planted here, even though it's the only native palm of California. Now, its cousin, the Mexican fan palm that's native down into Baja, the skinny, tall one right there, that plant is completely immune from this disease. It's skinnier, it's a little bit wavier, it's a little looser, anyway, this one gets straighter, has a fatter trunk, bigger frond. The fronds are not as dark green as the Mexican fan palm. However, if you want a big fat trunk and you don't want a wavy kind of stoned looking palm like the Mexican fan palm, as my buddy likes to call them, because they look stoned, he says, you get a hybrid between 50% blood of the Mexican fan palm and 50% blood of the California fan palm, and then you get a resultant plant with a big fat trunk, greener head, bigger head, that is very resistant to black diamond scale to the point at which you can't even notice it on the plant. So, now what you're noticing in the background, I know all the astute observers will say, well, how come the palms in the background don't have black diamond scale, Gary? Well, let me tell you, that's a whole nother story. So, all the architects constantly call me about, we want 50 California fan palms planted in the Bay Area here. How much, Gary? How much? And I'm like, oh God, here we go again. So I have to give them this whole education about why this plant should not be planted here. Now, the hotter the location, the better the plant will do, but it will, in the Bay Area, it will always suffer to some degree. Here in the fog belt, it suffers heavily. It never looks good. It just should not be planted here. It's a poor, sad plant. It's like taking a Hawaiian and dumping them off in Alaska. They don't like it. So then we have the Guadalupe Fan palm. This is the best possible palm you could put on the coast. It was born and bred and is endemic and found only on Guadalupe Island in Mexico off the coast of Baja, 220 miles southwest of San Diego. And this palm here is completely adapted to maritime conditions. It grew up in foggy, cool ocean conditions, much similar to the bay here. And not only is it adapted to those conditions from a growth standpoint and does not get the black diamond scale by any stretch of the imagination, it also, because it was windy and exposed on those islands, the frond got to become more leathery and tough to withstand and resist the harsh oceanic winds of that island. Now, the Mexican fan palm, it handles the wind pretty well too, but not nearly as well as the Guadalupe fan palm. These fronds are perfect all the way down the tree and no problem whatsoever. These palms are so adapted here, you can plant these things and after 3 or 4 or 5 years in the ground, you can abandon them. Now, in addition to that, the seeds are edible. It's called Brahea edulis, and that is the edulis part is the seed. This turns bigger and black. Once it's black, it tastes like burnt chocolate. If you are a kid on Guadalupe Island and there is no candy store, then that is where you get your chocolate and sugar fix. But not many people eat those anymore because there's much better options a la Hershey Corporation. So anyway, now you know, do not specify nor use the California fan palm in the Bay Area. Please call me up, buy a hybrid, okay? I'll set you up. I'll pick out the best ones on earth for you to use. If you want something slightly stony, then go with the Mexican fan palm. Wonderful plant for gracing tall architecture or, you know, just being cool in the sunset. But a more stately plant would be the hybrid of the California fan palm right over there. And now I need to go back and get my double parked truck right over there. I double parked it, risking a ticket so I could teach you all about these palm options. So now you know, don't let anybody plant the California fan palm anymore because they will die. And even if they don't die, they'll look terrible for years and years and years. You heard it here first. Gary Craig, Golden Gate Palms. Have a nice day.